7 steps to successful fly fishing your first time out. Step 2, fly selection. After testing your patience with some simple observations, now you're ready for your first cast, or are you? You haven't chosen a fly yet, or if you have, you might reconsider your options based on what you've seen or not seen so far. Many great anglers prefer to fly fish for trout strictly with a dry fly. Why, you may ask, would anyone with so much experience decide to fish dry flies exclusively when it has been proven that trout feed near the bottom of the stream or river 80% of their daily life? These dry fly purists claim that it's simply more fun to fish this way.
Ooh, leave it, he'll eat it. Strike! You got him, Good going. That's a hell of a lot more fun than nymphing, isn't it?
Their argument is well taken, and I think it is more fun to fish this way. Fly cast is such an elegant movement when the rod is in the hands of an experienced caster. When fishing with weighted nymphs, which imitate the life cycle of insects living near the bottom of the river or stream, the cast is not nearly as graceful. It's more of an athletic move that gets the job done and places the fly in the water in the fewest number of false casts as possible to keep it wet and to get the fly to the bottom. A good nymph fisher will catch more trout on a given day than an equally good fly fisher on almost any river or stream. I would strongly suggest that you learn both methods and decide for yourself, but until you get to that point, try to match the feeding patterns of the trout you are observing, be it with a dry fly or a nymph. There are 3 or 4 dry flies that would probably work on any western river or similar river around the world. The parachute Adams has been around a long time, and in different sizes it works and imitates so many different mayfly insects. The royal wolf is also a wonderful dry fly that has been around for ages. Of course, Lee Wolf designed this fly, but it doesn't really imitate one particular insect. We would probably call it an attractor pattern. A great pattern to have in your vest is the elk hair caddis. Al Troth, originally from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, moved to Dillon, Montana, and guided on the beaverhead and designed the elk hair caddis specifically for the beaverhead. It's a wonderful fly, floats very well. You should always carry a grasshopper imitation. We call them hoppers. The same can be said of nymphs by carrying a good supply of weighted pheasant tails, hare's ear flashbacks, beadhead soft hackles, and woolly buggers. The pheasant tail beadhead nymph works probably anywhere in the world. It was designed by Frank Sawyer in England on the chalk streams, and the fly became very popular in the U.S. and of course still works quite well. Another pattern imitates the emerging cycle of the nymph when the nymph decides to swim to the top of the water, and there's a lot of movement in the nymph, and this soft hackle pheasant tail would be a good match for that emerging insect. The gold-ribbed hare's-ear has been around a very long time. It has been improved with patterns like this. The fly is commonly used with a bead head and some with a flashback like this. So the bead head flashback hare's ear is the name of this fly, and it, similar to the parachute Adams, that's a dry fly, this bead head flashback hare's ear would imitate a lot of different insects under the water. And this would primarily be used to go deep, as opposed to that last fly we talked about, the emerging soft hackle pheasant tail. This fly is down on the bottom of imitating a nymph that would be down on the bottom of the stream. The woolly bugger is a big fish fly. It's got a lot of movement, marabou in the tail, soft hackle up front, and imitates everything from a bait fish to a leech. Size is extremely important, though. Once you've determined what fly will imitate the trout, what the trout are feeding on, and what stage of the insect's life, be it the nymph, emerger, or dry fly, trout seem to be very sensitive on size more than color. Size is more critical than color, and one of the reasons why a parachute Adams is so versatile. It can imitate numerous insects in different sizes, from a large mayfly like a green drake down to a small size 22 blue-winged olive. So it's a good, if you had one fly to pick to fish trout streams around the world, it would be probably a parachute Adams in different sizes. I strongly recommend that you learn how to tie your flies, which is a whole other facet of the sport of fly fishing, but a very rewarding one, especially when you land your first trout on a fly that you tied yourself.